Yeah, so I'm René Habermann. I'm from Germany, from Dresden. I'm with Bippin Bits. This is basically my company for making games together with my wife, Anna. And we are a duo. And she's making pixel art for the games we make. And I'm doing like most of the rest, like programming, game design, direction, production. And for music and sound, we always get help from the outside.
And y'all are working on Dome Keeper, which, if I recall correctly, you just released a demo on Steam. This is an interesting game because I can see that y'all began from a very humble start with itch.io with Dome Romantic. And can
Yeah.
you just begin by taking us through the glow up from where you were on itch.io to being on Steam and doing this demo?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic to me because it's so much of a journey. I mean, even getting to the part. So, Dome Romantic we made last year for Ludum Dare 48, but that was actually our 10th Ludum Dare entry. So, if I say our, that means Anna and me, and we have always varying people join us in the jams. And back then, this was still only a hobby. I mean, we had Bippin Bits, but I was working full time in IT, and we also have a kid, which Anna was taking care of most of the time. She was 1 year old back then, nearly 2. And yeah, so the theme for that Ludum Dare was deeper and deeper. So we quickly came up with the idea for a mining game, and the mining game needs a purpose. So that idea quickly got together. I thought it was a very straightforward idea, not innovative in the classic sense. But we made it. Before that we are actually working on another game, but Dome Romantic turned out to be so nice. So many people enjoyed it so intensely that Anna really urged me to. She said, "Yeah, okay, this game is so loved. Let's do that one instead and scrap the other project." And yeah, we did that. I mean, it was still a hobby project, so we worked on the weekends, on the evenings on it, and slowly added content to it. What we thought would be fun. Yeah, and we prepared for actually Steam Next Fest in October, where we wanted to release the demo. And with this demo build, it turned out Johan from Raw Fury, a scout, saw Dome Romantic, one of my tweets, I think, and he was interested. We spoke, and then it was like 10 days between me pitching, sending a pitch deck, until we decided, yeah, okay, let's work together. And they wanted to publish Dome Romantic. They really had a good time with playing it and liked it a lot. And that was basically in October last year. And then I had to quit my job. I actually quit my job before signing the deal with Raw Fury, because I had trust that it would come together. And we have 3 months notice in Germany, so that was I would have had to stay a month longer if I had done this. And then we started working on it full time in January, and not only full time but also with a budget, so we could actually hire more people to work on it. Cameron, who was already doing the music for Dome Romantic, he of course stayed on the team for Dome Keeper. And yeah, we've been working on it since then. And in February this year, we released the old Dome Romantic demo, which we wanted to have for the Steam Next Fest just on a whim. And it already kind of exploded. It went way beyond what we thought in terms of popularity. Got very popular, played a ton. But this was basically the old version. And this week, just yesterday, we released the new Dome Keeper demo, as you said.
Nice. And this is a very interesting marriage of concepts, what you've got here. Like the mining games, we've seen some mining games, and I also see some level of I wouldn't say almost missile command or tower defense, but it definitely has some very interesting elements where you blend that mining thing with a time limit and building the materials you need to fend off monsters.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like the concepts in this game and how the gameplay came together?
Yeah, sure. So the basic, the basic point where we started was the theme of the Ludum Dare. It was deeper and deeper, so a mining game was pretty straightforward. But what's always important to me that you don't do things in a game to do more of that. So you don't mine so you can mine more, or you I don't know, you do it to get a high score or something like that. So it quickly needed a motivation and having. So initially, I thought there would be asteroids that you need to shoot down, but it very quickly evolved into having monsters there that come in waves, which was also like a natural fit to take a little bit of to not have the game constantly stress you out, but to take that in kind of doses with this rhythm. And this was actually inspired by Kingdom, which is like Raw Fury's biggest hit, I would say, where you also have this day-night cycle, where you in the day you build your kingdom, and in the night these monsters come and attack your walls, basically. So that was definitely inspired by that. Sorry, should I go into something specific a bit more?
Oh no, you're fine. Like you mentioned, like it began as sort of like this more smaller scale project on itch.io, and then as it grew and people began to love it, you all expanded with Raw Fury and onto Steam. What can they expect out of like the expansion in Dome Keeper?
It depends a bit when they played Dome Romantic. If they played it for the jam, the step to what we have now is larger than if they played the like expanded demo we also had on Steam in February. If they played the itch demo, what's important to understand is that this is basically the product of 3 days and a bit of polishing afterwards. And Dome Keeper is really our most important goal is. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Dome Romantic from the 3 days was already working. So it was already fun. And we know we had a good core loop. And the expansion was always about not breaking that. So adding to that, expanding on that, but not breaking the core principle. And same went for the graphics update. I mean, we made a big graphics update, a big sound update. And we always wanted to stay true to the spirit of the original. And that's exactly what Dome Keeper brings. More of the same feeling, I would say. More content around that, more complexity, and of course a lot more pleasant graphics and sounds.
And you mentioned like one of the big parts behind moving this game to Steam and expanding it was getting in contact with Raw Fury. Can you speak a little bit to that partnership and like how Raw Fury has helped you to focus on and expand the game?
Working with Raw Fury is very nice and very unexpected in a way. I've had some years in the IT business where I worked in various positions in IT, and I didn't meet a company that operates like Raw Fury. So they base it in working with them. They put a lot of trust into the developers, so the developer can really focus on making the best product possible. That seems very risky. For example, one typical thing you have with a publisher is milestones, and you have to reach those milestones if you want to continue to get paid. And Raw Fury doesn't have that. And the logic behind that is fantastic. Basically, the idea behind that is that developers will do things that do not help the whole project, that are hurtful to the whole, but are important to reach a milestone. And they will do strange things to reach that milestone. And so Raw Fury abandoned that, and they just trust in you and support you with that. And for us, it was mostly, we've never made a big commercial game, so this is our first game with commercial intent, I would say. And for that, it was also, of course, important to just get a partner with experience, and that's something Raw Fury definitely has. And I think they also understand the game very well, with Kingdom being one of their big games, and Kingdom being very close to what Dome is also. So they are they really understand what the game is about and just get it.
And you mentioned like this all began as like, and even right now it's just you and your wife. Like it's just is it still just a 2-person development team?
In Bip and Bits, which is basically our company, it's only us 2 people, but we got a bunch of freelancers to help with other parts of the game, like Cameron doing the music, Martin Quale doing the sound, and we got also Brandon and Davis to help with the pixel art. So we got and John for graphics programming. So we got a few more people, but the list of people seems longer than what's really happening in the game, because their contribution is between, I would say, 5 and 15 hours a week. So these are not like full-time additions to the project. So in total, I would say I think we have about 4 people if you add up to the full-time equivalent.
And like, as you've expanded from like the itch.io game up to this, as you mentioned, this commercial release, has it been daunting at all, like expanding the game, building it up, and then putting it in a place where you're going to, like, itch.io is a very, very free community, whereas Steam is a bit more, I wouldn't say like strict, but at the same time, like, it is for lack of better terms, what could be considered the big leagues. And does that ever come across as daunting to you as you release it, as you prepare this game?
That's a good question. So definitely, the feeling from the Steam community is a little bit different. I can feel and see in the forums that the players are have higher expectations to levels of quality and what they want, and how sure they are in their feedback, what they want to see in the game. So that's definitely something. I wouldn't say it has been daunting. So we always have, we had this incredibly lucky position that we basically had a working game from day 3. And then, okay, you have the thing that is fun. It's important not to break that, to expand that in ways you can. But it's not like we had to say, okay, we have this now, and now we work hard, and in 1 year it's gonna be fun. Having the fun already in is really helpful in that, in being confident in the approach.
Are there any features that you wanted to include in that 3-day period that now, with this expanded project, you're able to pursue those things that you couldn't put when you initially designed the game?
That being our 10th Ludum Dare, we were pretty experienced, I would say, in how to scope a game. So things that could not be in the game, in the scope of the jam, I don't even think about them. I know, okay, this is too big. Don't think about it. This is too big. Only focus on what you can bring in. There was one thing we didn't get in, which was at the very first release. There was a second monster, and I felt we really needed that. And I was always sad that we didn't have that in. And I think it was even ready art-wise, but I didn't have time to integrate it anymore. That hurt back then, but since then we added a lot of new monsters, so that's fine now.
And that's very interesting as far as like the way you describe scope, because like there are plenty of games out there where like feature creep is a thing, where like folks want to put it all in there and they don't necessarily have the time or the manpower or any other reason. Like, and how did you obviously have experience doing these jams before, but like how did you develop like your methodology to keeping feature creep away from your games?
That's also a great question. I think it was mostly first of all, you need what's important is to realize, okay, to have a good estimate. If you think about something, how complex will that be, and how much time will that take? And that's mostly a thing of experience, I would say. but also thinking about alternatives. Sometimes you have a system that would need half a day to implement, but you could also do it in a very simple alternative way, and it only takes 1 hour or something like that. And being creative in the approach and not being too sticky with, okay, this one has to look exactly like that, and this system has to function exactly like that. So staying flexible is really, really helpful in kind of adapting and fitting a lot of content into a small time frame, definitely. Yeah, and other than that, it was mostly about, okay, so we brought games out in game jams, and we didn't have enough time to polish and not enough time to iterate and to playtest. And so I take that very seriously, the feedback that we get afterwards. So that's kind of a harsh learning experience also when you work on a game and you realize, okay, it doesn't work out at all like you imagined. So that really drives making it better the next time, and that's very motivating also. And I think that was just getting in the experience, and no secrets there.
And obviously, with the response to Dome Keeper and the your eyes on the prize for this particular project, that's obviously what you're going to be working on for now. But are there any other previous, like you mentioned that you had so many different projects that came to different game jams? Are there any in particular that you would want to revisit and maybe expand upon following Dome Keeper?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm keeping a document of game ideas, and that's a very long document, like 80 things, but maybe 5 to 10 of them I really, really want to do. So some of these we were able to try in game jams, and some of are only existing on paper. But what we did, so since Dome Romantic is 1 year ago, we made 2 Ludum Dare entries since then. And these are both games I would like to revisit. And probably the one with the most potential would be the one we made after Dome Romantic, which is Caravan. That's how it's called. And what was very surprising, that was even better rated and more popular than Dome Romantic. So we've got kind of already a backup game after that.
That's awesome. And where can people find out more about Dome Keeper or see the game for themselves?
Yeah, so the game is on Steam, free demo, just to play, and I think it's best to just give it a go, see what it's about, how it feels. It's very approachable in a way, and our Discord is definitely a good place to look at. I'm very active there. I'm reading everything that's happening here and responding when I can. I'm also taking care of having a Steam news update here and there. I think these are good spots. Maybe Twitter, or @BipandBits Twitter.
Nice. And do you have any sort of window on when you expect the game will come out so far, or what platforms it'll come to?
Yeah. So the release is planned for this year, definitely in fall, most likely. The release will happen on PC for Steam, for GOG, I think too. And we are also checking out if we can do a Switch port. So Switch would also be a platform, but that's not decided yet. So we are still kind of figuring out if we can do that.